Oh, I heard you on the thing. I can hear you talking, so don't talk. What is going on? It is two bald guys on the right, Will Rooney, Kevin Bonner. Kevin joining us from where are you at right now? Actually, I lost audio. Are you there, Kevin?
Hold up a second.
There you go. I got you.
All right. You got me? There we go.
I got you.
So in Houston, Texas, the melting pot of the world, in a cashless society, let me get my camera. It's hard holding everything and being on camera. But in a cashless society, everybody's trying to go cashless. And here we are in Houston, Texas, went to a food truck last night. And guess what, Will?
What happened at the food truck?
The only thing they would accept is cash. In a cashless
cash
society. Yeah. Now, is that because maybe they're cashless and not paying taxes? I don't know. And I don't want to judge people that way. But tell you what, the tacos were off the chain.
I'm surprised that this day and age that people don't have the ability to take cards anymore. Especially in Houston.
Yeah, you would think they'd have a square or something that all of a sudden it works. But so we are in Houston. Spent the day. I basically spent the day in the car while the wife went to the largest outlet mall in the United States in Katy, Texas, called Katy Mills, and they've got something for just about everybody. And I stayed in the car with the dog simply because I didn't want to walk because the back was hurting me. And then my brother, who lives in Katy, Texas, came to see us. So all is good. If you're keeping up with the coronavirus, the brand new numbers that came out, it looks like the virus is getting weaker. Not as many people are dying from the coronavirus. A group of doctors came out today. Did you see this?
No.
Did you see the doctors that came out?
Yeah, on Breitbart?
Yeah. And they came out and basically said the whole thing is a scam. They said they're treating people. And one lady, I think she was from the Congo or somewhere. Anyway, she came out and said that she's had 350 patients, all ages, all walks of life, some with diabetes, some with other, existing conditions, and that she says she hasn't lost one patient.
Wow.
And the reason why they haven't lost any patients, name the drug do you think they're using on every one of these patients?
Hydrochloroquine.
Yep, that's it. That's it. And the president said it early on. I don't know if you also saw the president came out and said nobody is going to be mandated that they have to take the vaccine once the vaccine is here. We're not going to be a country that mandates you have to take the vaccine, which is refreshing because I was a little bit worried that they were going to tell me I would have to take it, and I really don't want to take it.
Right.
Not until we figure the whole damn thing out. But we have the technology, we have the medicine, a combination of medicines. Hydrochloroquine is number one, along with steroids. A doctor in Midland said he's treating people with both, and he hasn't lost a patient. So we have a way to help people. I looked at the numbers in the United States. 4 million cases. 2 million people have been healed from this. 2 million people now. How many people in the United States have died from it? 145,000. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, how many people live in the United States? 320 something million people, and that's not counting people that probably don't want to be counted.
Right.
But out of 320 something million people, 40 million people have been affected and only 145,000 people have died. The numbers remain. We're not the best country when it comes to, mortality rate, but we're damn sure not the worst country. Mexico's mortality rate is like 21%. Their numbers are quite high, unbelievably high. So, Dr. Fauci, well, you got the picture of Dr. Fauci? Of course,
I
he
do
throws
indeed.
out the.
Oh, he kills our audio whenever I go to Dr. Fauci. So I'm going to go back to B.
I never thought that we could find somebody that threw the ball worse than Barack Obama. I mean, do you remember the story? Barack Obama, I think, I don't remember, was it 2008? He goes out there to throw the ball. And number one, there you go. Dr. Fauci, without a mask on, no social distancing. And so Dr. Fauci, his mask is off. Now, Will, if the mask is needed, why doesn't Dr. Fauci have his on?
Well, he's definitely not wearing it proper. And then whoever's with him there, well, and they're not socially distanced either. They're the only people in
No.
the stands too. I mean, so they could be like 3 or 4 seats apart. They're right next to each other.
Right. So
Do as
that
I
tells
say,
me that,
not as I do.
yeah, exactly. And so as I look at this picture, I'm just kind of going, what the hell happened with Dr. Fauci? We're supposed to be social distanced, and we're also supposed to be making sure that we're wearing that mask. He's not wearing the mask. That tells me that is that the whole mask idea a bunch of hooey. And it's amazing. We stopped on the way to Houston at the world's largest convenience store. It is the superstores of convenience stores, and I'm talking about Buc. Have you been to Buc-ee's, Will?
I don't think so. I'm surprised though.
Oh my God, Buc-ee's, and you know what? They used to be just be in Texas. They're all over the South now. But Buc-ee's, you can find everything from a barbecue pit to a pair of jeans to the best fudge in the world to a great pulled pork sandwich or brisket sandwich. Oh, but we walk into Buc-ee's and I'm thinking Texans. Texans are supposed to be these tough people. We're going to do what I want, and nobody's going to tell me what to do. Everybody has a mask on but me, and they're looking at me like I have the plague or something.
Right?
Serious. And so I'm looking at them and I'm like, wow, everybody. Well, me and the guy. And as I passed by, he said, keep on doing what you do. Thank you, sir. I will. But if Dr. Fauci doesn't have to wear a mask right next to somebody, why
And they
should
could be
I?
immediate family. But I don't know if that guy is he live in the house with him. I mean, the other one may be his
I
wife.
would hope not, unless there's some really freaky stuff going on.
I'm guessing
You
the
know,
other one's his wife.
yeah, and so I have to laugh from time to time because my wife is Filipino. Everybody knows a wife is Filipino. Anyway, in the Philippines, they do this thing called back riding. It means that somebody's riding on the motorcycle in back of them. They now have to have a shield. They now have to have a shield between the husband and wife. Like the husband and wife ain't been getting freaky and stuff. Are you kidding me? So the only people that can do what they call back ride, it's somebody's riding on the motorcycle in back of them,
And where
is
is this
husband
at?
and wife in the Philippines.
Oh wow.
So believe me, I know my Filipino people. They make a lot of babies. Don't tell me they're not getting freaky at night. And so the whole thing is just
No, they're
kind of the
socially
whole thing
distanced
is
between the sheets.
yeah, you have to have a piece of, and they have helmets on. Hello, hello. Have they ever said that the coronavirus spreads through sweat? I don't think so. I don't think so. So the
Not
whole
that I've
thing is
heard
just
yet, but
nuts.
just wait 5 minutes because they'll change that.
Yeah, I mean it could. It could happen. So, Will, I don't know if you saw the story about the mask, the swastika. No, wait. Before I get to that story, this just in, coming across the wire this morning, the looks like Joe Biden might be in some trouble,
Oh boy, what did he
and I'm
do
going to tell
now?
you why. All the delegates that have pledged their votes for Joe Biden, I mean for Bernie Sanders, have now said that they will not support Biden unless it includes Medicare for all. Medicare for all citizens of the, well, not even citizens, all people residing in the United States. So they will not throw their support to Joe Biden unless he signs a deal for Medicare for all. So things could get a little crazy.
Interesting.
Could get a little crazy. So
So I guess we'll
I
find
don't
out
think
if that's how
America at
that's going to
this,
roll out.
yeah, I don't think we can afford Medicare for all.
Oh, are you
Number
kidding?
one,
Well, especially
we
after
we are.
coronavirus.
Oh yeah,
Coronavirus.
we're at $27 trillion in the hole. You know, the first thing I would be doing, all these countries that really don't like us, that want our damn money, I would be telling them, "Oh hell no, we ain't got your money. Sorry about this. We ain't got your damn money. So ain't got it. You don't like us anyway. So why should I have to give you billions of dollars every year?" Um, So here's a story coming out of. I got to find the story because I don't have my stuff printed like I usually do. Oh, here it is. Story coming out of. This was on CBS this morning. Swastika masks are worn at a hometown Walmart in Minneapolis and caused a big stir. So, can you tell people what mask to not to wear and what mask to not wear?
So is the swastika? Is that a Tom-ism that you use from the morning show, or is that
Yeah,
a?
I think I just did it. Look, I'm in Houston. It's hot as hell outside.
It's swasticky outside.
Very, very hot. Very hot. But anyway, they go to the Walmart in Marshall, Minnesota. It's a suburb of Minneapolis. And so these guys wear it, and then people get very, very upset with them. And so, look, I don't like anybody that's a white supremacist. I really
No,
don't. I don't. I mean, more so, I don't like anybody that's any type of supremacist. That includes Black
any
Lives
group, any
Matters.
race.
Anyway, if you're hating against another group of people, I don't care for you. But is it their Second Amendment right
First
or
Amendment. Yeah, it
First
is.
Amendment right? I
As
think
far
it
as
is. And
displaying the swastika, I
yeah.
guess. Yeah, I guess it is.
So, which leads to another thing. I saw a meme on Facebook the other day, and it said, should we be teaching the Constitution to every college student? And I'm going to go a little bit further. I say, hell yeah, I think we ought to be teaching it in elementary school and in high school about the Constitution of the United States. Because most people that have passed high school don't understand a damn thing about the Constitution. None. Not one thing about the Constitution.
No.
So last Thursday, I had to go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, doctor's appointment. Well, can you share the picture of my beautiful wife? And look, they have taken the whole idea of social distancing. How the hell do you social distance in an elevator?
In a
So
little bitty
that there's
elevator.
yeah, there's the picture of my wife in the elevator. You see the blue line. One person's supposed to stay on the other side of the blue line.
Well,
Other
what if you're
person's
right on the
supposed to
other
stay on.
side? That's like a couple inches.
Well, I mean, what if you got 10 people in the elevator
I was
or
gonna
eight
say,
people in the elevator?
you just got to wait. Two people at a time, one
And
on either side, as far away as you can get from each other.
right. And of course, Albuquerque is another failed state, city, another failed city when it comes to everything that they do. But boy, they're sure pushing this whole, you got to have a mask on, you got to do this, you got to social distancing, except when it comes time to protest. That's the time that you don't have to worry about the masks. Yeah, you have no worry about don't worry about it at all. Unbelievable. So I'm the type of person. I went to Albuquerque with no mask and had a T-shirt on that says "Your governor's an idiot," and you just should see the way people look at people. It's pretty crazy the way that people look at other people.
You kind of opened yourself
Unbelievable.
up. You opened yourself up to
Well,
that.
yeah, whatever you say. I mean, to me, freedom of speech. You can't have it. You can't have it the other way. I mean, you can only have it. You can only have it the right way. And freedom of speech means freedom of speech. I have freedom of speech too. It's just not for some people. It's for all people. So I had a story that I posted up, and like I said, I'm on the road, so my stuff is not printed. But I had a story about how many restaurants do you think are going to be closed down because of coronavirus? Any
Like
idea?
nationwide?
Nationwide. Nationwide.
Like you're talking about closing down permanently?
Permanently.
Like not
Permanently.
not going to be able to open up ever again?
Nope.
No, I don't have a
So
clue. How many?
ABC News did a story. It was on Saturday. 16,000 restaurants are going to be closed permanently because of the coronavirus.
Wow.
16,000. Now how many people you think work at your average restaurant? 50, 75, 100? At least?
It depends on where you're talking about. I mean, if you're talking about smaller
So
communities, but you're talking about the big ones, then absolutely.
let's do an average of 33.
Okay.
33 33 people for each one of those restaurants times 16,000 are going to be unemployed. And how do you come back with other jobs? Where are they going to find employment? That's the problem. It's probably not going to happen. I think we are currently working our way into another Great Depression because people are not going to be able to find jobs. They're not going to come back as quick as we would think. 16,000. Now, Will, you got a friend that owns a restaurant, don't you?
I do, absolutely. I have a
And
couple
so
friends, but one in particular that's struggling pretty hard.
So our governor in the great state of New Mexico, where we rank last in education and last in teen suicide and
We're at the top of all
last
the
in
bad lists, and we're at the bottom of all
all
the
the
good
bad
ones.
lists. So just to keep you updated on where we stand, has closed all end dining restaurant. Now, when I went to Albuquerque, it was nice and cool up there. It was about 85. Well, outside dining is doable. In southeast New Mexico, where me and Will live, it's 110. There is no outside dining. How are you? I mean,
They're
you order
doing it
your
though.
nachos uncooked, and all of a sudden they're done.
Yeah, you don't have to leave them on a warmer. They're going to be ready to go whenever you get out to the plate outside. Yeah,
No,
they're doing it though. Intense.
yeah, they are doing it, and God bless them for doing it. But I mean, it's almost unheard of that somebody wants to go sit out in that sun,
One I've said it time and
especially
time
after
again.
being in.
I've said it before. Do you really think that the restaurants are able to control things better on the outside with all the
No,
bugs and the heat?
no,
And do you think it's more sanitary for them outside or in a controlled environment in a restaurant where they can sanitize everything? Because outside,
yeah.
good luck.
By the way, Walmart has. I went to Walmart last week at some point, and they told me it's recommended that I wear a mask. So the security guards are gone at the Walmarts, and they're telling you that you should wear a mask. And I refuse the mask. And if anybody has ever asked about wearing a mask, all you have to do is tell them a couple things. Civil Rights Act of 1965 would be number one, which you can't make somebody wear or not wear head covering or face covering.
Hmm.
So You're covered by that. Also, religious freedoms. You can say that it's against your religion. Now, I don't know what religion it would be against, but they
Come
probably
on.
can't. They probably can't even ask you that.
You're going to come up with
But
any excuse you can, aren't you?
yes, whatever. Um, it leads to this story. This disabled Air Force veteran
Oh, I
entered
know. I
Peterson
saw
Air
that.
Force
We
Base,
talked about that this morning on the
and
morning show.
yeah, so he goes in and he doesn't have a face mask because number one, he can't wear a face mask. The guy looks like his whole entire face has been burned off. I mean, I don't even think he has the ears to put the face
He
mask
doesn't.
on.
No, he lost both of his ears. He lost most of the fingers on one hand, all of them on another. Was in an IED explosion. And so, disabled veteran, and of what makes this worse is he actually was denied access to the military commissary.
Right.
It
Yep.
wasn't anybody
Yep.
that told him he couldn't come in without a mask. It was the commissary of the United States
Right.
military.
So he's a retired colonel. He's
Yeah.
a retired colonel. His name is Sam Johnson, and lost his ears. Can't wear a mask. You would think somebody in the military would have common sense to go, dude ain't got no ears. How are we going to enforce this? They denied him. I smell
then
a
came back
lawsuit.
and apologized later.
They did, but is that enough? I mean, think about this. In this day and age, we cannot discriminate against people based on color of skin, based on handicap, based on whatever. But we're going to make this guy have a mask, and he can't hold up a mask because he has no ears.
Mm. So
I think
made
that
a good
could
point this
be
morning on the
problematic.
show. Said that a bandana you probably wouldn't need ears. Just playing devil's advocate. I think it's wrong anyway. I mean,
But
the guy's
didn't he
been through
lose
enough.
like function of his hands also?
Yeah, it would be really rough to tie.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Next to no fingers on one hand, and he's got none on the other, apparently.
So I think that would be very difficult. I think it would be really, really difficult for him to make that happen. But that's just me. Either way you look at it, the story is just so damn wrong. I mean, it really is.
The rest of you mask holes are just like people who just don't want to wear a mask because you just feel like
that's me. That's me.
You.
I'm a mask hole.
You are.
And I think we patented that word probably a month ago. So if you're a mask hole, and there are now doctors coming out saying, the whole idea about wearing a mask is not helping us. There's a doctor, and I wish we had the video. He came out and said the whole idea of social distancing is so they can actually track you. I don't know if I'm taking it that far.
No.
But if the mask works, why would we have? Well, our governor in New Mexico came out and said she is tracking us.
Well, sure, with our phones, and she knows where we go and what we're doing.
And to me, wait until I get back to New Mexico. I will be served with probably some type of lawsuit or something saying that I left the state and I have to do a 14-day quarantine. And if so, we'll do what we got to do. Did you see the story about the Arizona man and woman who was arrested after their 3-year-old child tested positive for fentanyl? 3-year-old kid.
Wow.
Tested positive for fentanyl. And by the way, according to the paperwork, the 3-year-old child was found dead in June inside the Peoria, Arizona home that was owned by the mother. And so they arrested the kid's dad and mother. And when the cops went in there, evidently they were a street dealer and had everything. And I don't know if the kid got to it, but fentanyl is such a dangerous drug. Just 1 grain of fentanyl can kill a kid. Unbelievable. And I'll say it again. If you don't want a kid, please, by God, don't have any kids. Please don't. Don't have a kid. I got a friend of mine that this show was not based on New Mexico, but I want to talk a second about Jonathan Verna is his name. And Jonathan is, he's one of these guys that goes out. He's not a member of the militia, so to speak, but he is a guy that goes out and trains with some friends of his. Now, number one, is it against the law to be a member of the militia? Will?
No, absolutely not.
No. So, and by the way, the Attorney General of New Mexico is basing this whole entire lawsuit based on Facebook post. So, a couple months ago, probably a month ago, there was a guy shot when they were trying. Now, we're right now trying to take down every statue in America. Unbelievable. So they were taking down these Spanish conquistador statues in Albuquerque, and a guy got shot. Well, the New Mexico Civil Guard was there. So they're trying to say he's a member of the Civil Guard, but there's one problem. He wasn't even in Albuquerque that night. So maybe next week we can, when I'm back in the studio, we can get him on and try to let him tell his story.
Sure.
So, did you see in Weatherford, Texas, where they were trying to take down some statue? Antifa came, and Antifa and the members of Black Lives Matters was going to take down a statue. And the people, bunch of good old boys from Weatherford. And by the way, those good old boys were made up of African Americans. They were made up of white folks and even some Hispanics. And basically, Antifa and Black Lives Matters had to be escorted out of Weatherford, Texas.
Sorry.
And it wasn't pretty.
No.
Wasn't pretty at all. By the way, when we're talking about protests, did you see the guy in Austin?
Oh, yeah. Good old Gary.
So this guy, yeah. So this guy goes to a Black Lives Matters protest. Evidently, his girlfriend is African American. He wanted to show his support. And he goes there. He's got was it an AR or AK?
I think it was an AK, but I'm not sure.
So he goes there and he tries to get a guy out of his car, and he points his weapon at the car and fires a couple times.
Fires a couple times over the car.
Being from Texas, well, you fire at me, I'm going to fire back, and I'm probably a better shot than you.
Yeah, the guy in the car did miss.
No, so he hit his mark, and now everybody's all, pissed off that. But
well, did you see his videos before? He basically they asked him, "Why do you have the gun?" And he said, "Well, it's one of my rights." Okay, fine. But then he also went on to say that everybody that was against them was on the other side, were a bunch of pussies, and there was no way they were going to do anything anyway. This from the guy who a little while later fired off his rifle above people's head and then got shot for it. I mean, the guy's in the car. He doesn't know if the next shot's going to go towards him.
Mm-mm.
Someone's firing a gun in my direction. Sorry.
So that leads us to another thing. These federal agents that are going into communities, they've been called the stormtroopers. So correct me if I'm wrong. There are federal agents in every single city across this great United States.
ATF, FBI, DEA.
FBI, Border Patrol, Homeland Security, you name it.
BIA,
so
federal agents.
The idea of calling them stormtroopers is just foolish. It's just foolish. You know who you ought to be really mad at? You ought to be mad at the cities. If you don't want them in your city, do your damn job. Let the police do their job. Well, I think it was Friday this came out that DHS agents in Portland, they do not have to identify themselves as federal agents, according to the court ruled that. And DHS agents in Portland say protesters are seeking to embarrass and defeat President Trump. Do you think 2 months after the death of George Floyd, which is tragic, 2 months after, that this thing is totally not about George Floyd anymore?
Well, of course it's not.
It's about defeating Trump.
It was honestly, it was never really about George Floyd. I think initially the outrage, and that was shared by everybody. That didn't have anything to do with, whether you were black or white or Native American or
Right.
Hispanic. Everybody was outraged by that because it was wrong. But
Right.
then all the outrage turned to all the rioters and the people
Right.
that they were
They took
killing.
it to a next level.
And
Next
then they
level.
just kept it going and
And
kept it going and kept making it about black lives rather than the lives that they were taking or the other excuses they were using to break the law.
yeah. So a man arrested for allegedly driving through a pro-police rally in Colorado. I don't know if you saw this story yesterday. It was a Blue Lives Matters protest. It was not really a protest. It was just a get together to show support for law enforcement. And this guy in Eaton, Colorado, takes his vehicle and drives into the crowd,
Just plows them over.
and it plows him over, and unbelievable,
Hey, we got a
unbelievable the
question
way
from
that.
Facebook from one of our
Oh,
listeners. It says, "Hey Kevin, do you think the person in Houston who shot the protester, who shot into his car first, will face any charges?" Or was that? I think that was the one
uh,
from Austin, actually.
Austin. Me personally, I don't see that he is going to face charges. Yeah, it's crazy though. I'm just going to say it. You remember the story out of St. Louis where those two people just took out their guns. They didn't shoot anybody, and they are now facing criminal charges. Now, looking at St. Louis and looking at Austin, St. Louis, St. Louis is fairly liberal. It's probably the St. Louis and Kansas City are probably the only liberal areas of Missouri. Um, so I don't know. It's hard to tell because it is in Austin. If it was in, say, Dallas, I'd probably say no. If it was in Houston, I'd probably say yes, because Houston is just as liberal as uh, just as liberal as Austin. So I would hope that they're not going to be face any charges, but at this point, we just don't know. We really don't know how that all is going to fly.
I think chances
I know
are,
we
if the liberal politicians, and it is Austin, so do I think the liberal politicians are going to pressure to have this person brought up on charges? Absolutely.
this whole thing. We've got a lot of things going on in America. We've got the coronavirus. We got rioting in the streets, and you know what? I want everybody to be treated, for what they are, good human beings. I really do. I don't want anybody to be treated differently. But when we look at the coronavirus and what is going on in this country, our schools aren't going to be open. We're talking about, September. I heard word that October might be when they're going to open up schools. We don't know at this point.
I don't think they're going to do
On
anything until
average,
after November.
no, I think you're probably right. On average, we got 65,000 people on average killed by the flu in this country. We didn't shut down one damn school, not one. We didn't shut down one business, one restaurant, nothing. And let me just point this out. There's a vaccination that you can get for the flu. When's the last time you got a vaccination for the flu?
I've had one, but I still got the flu.
Because, yeah. So I know people that have never gotten a vaccination in their life for anything and that are healthy human beings. My wife has never been sick that I know of a day in her life. I could say in the last 6 years, she's never been sick. Guess how many vaccinations she's had?
Zero.
Zero. I'm not talking about one, I'm talking about absolutely none. Zero. Not one vaccination. Not one. So these vaccinations to me are, I would have to think twice about getting the coronavirus vaccinations. But that's just me.
As long as we
Just
had some
me.
assurances that it was just a vaccination, maybe. But
Right.
with
Maybe.
Bill Gates having his hand in it, everybody pushing it on it, and then who's going to
Mm,
benefit from this vaccination? Who's actually going to be making the money? Because if Fauci
I
has
bet Dr.
any
Fauci.
ties to it, if he has
Yep.
any ties to it, absolutely not. Not going to have anything to do with it.
So, did you see that A&E has lost like 50% of their total audience?
Huh.
50% of their total audience after Live PD went off the air.
Oh, right. That was like the most
Live
popular
PD
show
was,
they had.
yeah, it was. I mean, that's the only reason why I watch A&E is because, Live PD. But after they took Live PD off, 50% of their total audience, meaning 50% of their total revenue, has gone away. And what's the reason why we take a TV show like Live PD off the air? Because it shines a negative light on people that are being arrested?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, don't get arrested.
Well, and do you
I
think that
mean,
they're going to do anything that's going to? I mean, they're going to let some cops be seen as the way they are. I mean, it's a lot of times it's not the cops that control what gets shown and what's not. So you get to see
right.
some of them at their best and some of them not so much.
Yeah, I agree. Regis Philbin passes away,
Oh,
88. Look, and I've been on the road for 2 days. Any word on what he passed away from, Will?
I haven't seen.
And please
No,
don't say coronavirus. Don't
I
don't say
haven't seen.
coronavirus. I mean, he's 88. Please don't say coronavirus. But had been on TV for like 60 plus years, and was 1 month shy of celebrating his 89th birthday. So he passed away, and I'm looking to see what he died of, but it it doesn't say. Doesn't say what he died of. So Regis Philbin, may you rest in peace. And we make jokes about the coronavirus, but me personally, at this point, I'm more afraid of a Democrat being in the White House than the coronavirus. People ask me all the time, why are you're not scared? You got this, you got that. No, no, no. I'm more scared of Joe Biden being in the White House, but that could be just me.
More
I,
scared of
I'm
Joe than the
scared to death.
coronavirus.
Oh hell yeah, I'm very scared of Joe. Uh, yeah, uh, unbelievable.
Mark
I
on
would be
Facebook
very
says he
scared.
thinks that he saw that he died of natural causes. And Quinn
Did
said
he?
heart disease.
Well, I mean, 88 years old, you would expect that. Do you know the mortality rate in the United States, the death rate, the average age? 70.8 years old is the death rate in the United States. Do you know the average age for the mortality rate from the COVID-19? 78.1. True story. So it's pretty much in line with the mortality rate in the United States where people actually die.
We got
Pretty
another
pretty
question on
dang close.
Facebook. Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Dean Hare says, I saw earlier the UN said that Trump will stop the feds to stop with stopping the rioters or they would get involved.
No, what I said was if
No,
the
no,
each
not you. Just
individual.
said he said he read this
Oh,
somewhere
okay.
else
Hmm.
or he saw it on TV. That if Trump doesn't stop the rioters or doesn't stop the feds from coming to stop the rioters, that the UN would get involved, basically.
We don't need the UN in the United
Oh,
States of
hell
America.
no.
I mean, the last thing we need is the blue hats in the United States of America. Let me tell you what's going to happen though. If 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 Trump is elected again, there will be riots. If Trump is not elected, there will be riots. Either way, there will be riots. You can count on that. Either way, something is going to happen in this country. Either way, and it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all. What else we got, Will?
Well, I'm getting some other messages from Facebook from messages. Some of the guys are texting me some memes and things, but that's about it.
I'm out here and Houston, Texas, sitting outside on the porch, sweating like a banshee.
You don't
For
look that
those
bad. Doesn't
that
look like it's that humid.
man, this weather and the weather in Louisiana and the weather in the Philippines are pretty much the same,
That's
humid
the
and hot.
that's the only reason
Oh,
I would come visit.
something that we didn't touch on. All these Major League Baseball players taking a knee.
Mm,
Now, there's kind of I've heard both sides of that. So some are saying they took a knee before
they
the
did.
national anthem.
They did. Yeah.
Okay, so they
At
didn't
least
take a knee.
in the case of the Nationals and the Yankees, they took a knee before the national anthem during this Morgan Freeman announcement about empathy. They took a knee to help protest with Black Lives Matter. And then they had the
Okay,
national anthem, which they all stood for. But I don't know if any of the Yankees or the Nationals knelt, but there's been other teams and other members of different teams that are still kneeling during the national anthem. And of course, you had the WNBA, who just completely walked
right.
off the court as soon as the anthem was played.
Now, how many people watch the WNBA? What's kind of their ratings?
Not
Because
great.
I'm going to tell you this much: even in good times, nobody went to see the WNBA. I'm
No.
sorry, ladies, nobody went to see you guys. Look, I'm not saying you're not worthy, but it's the same thing that people. Well, we need equality. We need people getting paid the same amount. Um, okay, you have to make the same amount. Basically, the NBA is sharing revenue with their ball players. If they don't make a whole bunch of money, they're not giving out those big contracts.
Right. If the
And
money's
that's
not
where
there,
you're
they
at,
can't pass it
WNBA.
along.
No, why would they? It's unbelievable.
Well,
It's
it's not good
unbelievable.
business.
So, no, it would be very stupid business that if you're not going to make it, basically it's an investment. You're investing in those players. So if you have zero chance of making money back, it's not gonna work. Not gonna work at all. So um, looks like the McConnell unveiling his $1 trillion coronavirus relief proposal. Now they're going to change this. If you were getting $600 a week, I think you're only going to get $200 additional unemployment. And they're doing another stimulus, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're going to get $1,200 stimulus, but if you're on unemployment, you're not going to get $600 extra a week. You're only going to get like $200. What's
So
your thought on that, Will?
is any of that finalized?
Not yet. They're
Well, I
working
think the
on it.
200
So,
is definitely better than the 600 as far as helping people, but not giving them an incentive not to go back to work.
right.
I
I
think
think
people,
we've had some of
especially
that.
those, I think unemployment for is not a good long-term solution. And if you don't have an actual job offer, then that's ridiculous. But I know of people who are being offered their jobs back and are
Right.
saying, "Nah, I'm good on unemployment because I'm
Nah,
making an
I'm
extra
good.
600
I'm
bucks. I'm
I'm
making
making
more on
plenty. I
unemployment than
don't.
I made when I worked for
Mm,
you, so I'm just gonna sit at home and
yeah, I don't
keep
need that.
collecting unemployment."
Mm.
That's what they're doing.
So, looks like Joe Biden's going to pick his vice presidential pick soon. He has four. I got to switch hands. My arm is about ah. So he's I can't wait to get back in the studio. Anyway, he's got four women, all African American women that he's going to choose from. So
Do we know their names yet?
if well, Kamala Harris is the lead person. You got the governor of no, the mayor of Minneapolis. No, not Minneapolis. Anyway, there's four African American women. And
Not
why should it
Michelle
be a
Obama.
no, no? Why should it be a prerequisite to become a vice president that you have to be African American? Isn't that racist in itself to discriminate against other candidates based on color of skin?
He's decided that that's what he wants to do. He's going to try to get a black woman
Because
in there.
me personally, I wish he went a little lighter color, like brown color. because then he could have went for our governor in New Mexico, Michelle Lujan Grisham. I think that would have been a wise choice for him. Well, I'm not saying it's a wise choice, but I definitely think it would be good that she get out of our state and go back to DC.
Our buddy Smokey from New Mexico texted in and he said, "Too bad Sleepy Joe couldn't pick the lovely Miss Candace Owens. That ain't ever going to happen."
Oh my
That's
goodness.
one African American woman he would never pick in a million years.
Candace Owens is,
because then I'd be like,
yeah.
Let's get Joe out of there as quick as possible, and we'll just throw Candace up as the president.
I mean, Candace Owens. I mean, her grandfather was a sharecropper, and he taught her about work ethic and all kind of other stuff. And next week when we play the show, I'm going to play the video of Joe Biden talking about African Americans, and it's pretty racist.
Oh,
what Joe Biden had to say.
Now, granted, this was years
unbelievably.
ago.
It was years ago.
It was on the floor of the House, wasn't it?
Yes,
the Senate floor?
and so we'll see where we're gonna go with Joe Biden. NFL, Roger Goodell sends a letter to NFL fans explaining their plans for this season. They have cut the roster down to 80 players. And so they instantly put people on unemployment because how much do you think a practice squad player in the NFL makes?
No idea.
Practice squad. It starts at about $400,000.
Are you kidding me? A practice squad?
Yeah, you could be paid up to $600,000 on the practice squad.
Wow.
So. Yeah, so it's not like it's chump change.
No,
it is good money just to get beat up at practice. I mean, I'm not saying in my health conditions that I would do it, but Will, I'm putting you up for it.
Well, for 400,000, I'll take the punishment.
Yeah, as I'm saying, take a couple hits. 400 grand, unbelievable. So, $400,000. I mean. That's a lot of money, a lot of money. By the way, looks like a couple other things going on before we get out of here. Greg Popovich messages people who don't understand about the Black Lives Matters movement. So Coach Popovich of the Spurs says that he will be glad to talk to people if they don't understand the whole movement. He said people that don't understand it, he'd love to talk to them. Greg Popovich really needs to worry about winning because the San Antonio Spurs have sought for the past 9 years, 8 or 9 years. Oh yeah, it's been a while. As soon as Tim Duncan was gone, the Spurs started sucking.
Now be careful, you're in Texas. You're going to get lynched.
Yeah, but they're probably Rockets fans in Houston, so I'm probably good. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are seen together in Wyoming. There was word that Kanye was in Albuquerque, of all places.
Really?
Did you see the video of Kanye West at his first political? Oh, it was brutal.
When he was crying and going on.
Oh, it was brutal. We haven't seen that type of crying since the Bill Clinton, when he was on trial. I have not have sex with that woman. She did get a stain on the dress, but that was something else.
It was mayonnaise.
So yes, it wasn't. It was nothing else. You could check my DNA. It's not
busted.
Me.
So I have to bring up real quick about all these governors. So have you noticed the states that are raising the numbers in coronavirus? Of course, and a bunch of them, when I say raising, I mean that because like Florida, Texas, Arizona, all red states, and all these numbers got inflated because all the April numbers got added in for July to make it look like there was this huge spike. Well, and all these governors who are Republican governors are coming under fire and have been demonized over and over and over, including by our own governor of New Mexico. But
she's a piece of work.
You notice the one of the so there's 4 states that have these spikes. And there's one that's been left out conveniently, and it's the worst of the four. Gavin Newsom of
Hmm.
California. I wonder
Oh,
why the
California. Oh
media
no, we can't.
is not taking attack at him and saying what a horrible job he's doing
No,
with the
we got to leave
coronavirus.
Gavin off the list. I mean, why would we put Gavin on that list? I mean, Gavin's got enough problems. Gavin's another governor that has said the feds are not welcome in his state. The feds are already in your state, Gavin.
Sure, they are.
They
Well, they
really
say
are.
that until
And
they need them,
yeah,
and then
and
if
when they
it's
need
them
them,
under attack, they can't get there fast enough.
yeah. So it's just like, we don't need you. And then all of a sudden, you get a hurricane or, a fire or whatever. Then you need us. Then you need. So Mike Ditka, by the way, took a stand on the whole flag issue. Mike Ditka, would you call him a man's man?
Sure.
Mike Ditka he just got finished being called a racist
Of course he did.
by a powerful NFL figure because Mike Ditka said, if you were on my team, you would not kneel for the national anthem. So Mike Ditka is a member of the Hall of Fame, was a hell of a football player, a hell of a coach. And now a lot of people are coming after Mike Ditka saying he's a racist.
I wonder what
And
the
Mike Ditka's
refrigerator
like,
Perry and
yeah,
Walter Payton and some of the other guys of the old Bear
right.
teams would say about Mike Ditka being a racist.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mike Ditka came back and said, I'm not a racist. I've been around people of all colors my entire life. What I am is a realist.
Yeah.
And there's a time and the place to protest. And said, on the field, when you're getting paid is not the time.
No.
So Mike
And
Ditka
look
takes
what
a
it's done to the
stand.
sports. I mean,
Yeah.
just people thought that the Washington Nationals and the Yankees were kneeling for the national anthem, and they immediately wrote off baseball. America's pastime. It's called that for a reason.
I wrote it off a long
now
time ago.
they've completely. I know you never liked baseball, but I'm a huge baseball fan, and they've completely alienated a lot of their audience, just like the NFL has. Now, what if college football starts doing that, Kevin? What if LSU starts doing that? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm probably not going to watch, is what I'm
Ooh.
not going to do.
Strong words from the lifelong LSU fan.
It would be very, very strong, to walk away from watching LSU. But if it happens, it happens. I talked to my brother who lives in Houston today, and he was telling me that a friend of his has the coronavirus and has had a tough time because of fluid. For whatever reason, when they put him in the hospital, fluid built up. And this is a guy that's in great shape. I mean, he's 62 years old, if I'm not mistaken, and in great shape. Well, the fluid built up that they had to put in drains, and they thought that his kidneys were going to shut down at one point. And then I have a friend of mine in the Philippines that got it, and he said it was about 2 weeks of feeling achy and stuff. I got a guy I used to work with, his wife got it, and she's been laying in bed for a couple of weeks, and he said it's not that bad. So the severity of this whole thing kind of depends on, number one, of course, if you're sick or not, if you have underlying health conditions. For some people, it doesn't affect them the same way. But here's a guy that was healthy and had some different things happen to him because he got the coronavirus. So they're saying they don't believe it was because of the coronavirus, but guess what? He's better now. He's up, he's moving.
Well,
I think he's going back to work on Monday of next week. So that's an awesome story. That's an awesome story. We didn't talk about John Lewis being laid to rest. Of course,
No.
Civil rights icon, did some awesome things during the civil rights movement. But, and I will always respect people for what they do. but went to Washington, D.C. and became very wealthy. To me, anybody that has it, goes there with nothing and leaves with over $1 million, to me, that's wealth. Isn't that
Yep.
wealth? A million? If you had a million, would you be considered wealthy?
It is. Did he make it while he was in office, or did he make it from book deals after the fact?
No, he was still in office when he passed away. So
Then I
the
have a problem
Georgia
with that.
lawmaker, yeah, and so look, I have no problem with with John Lewis, um, but he really hasn't done anything, in the past 20 years. He was a fighter for civil rights, and I will always respect that. But other than that, he really didn't do anything. As far as Arthur major legislation, didn't really do it. So may he rest in peace. And I hate to, he's gone now, can't defend himself, but at the same time, for the past 20 years, hasn't done a whole bunch. And
Well,
this is another reason why we need term limits. Had been in Congress for more than 33 years. How old was John Lewis when he passed away? He's in his 80s. John Lewis is in his 80s, had been there for 33 years. He was 80 years old, battling pancreatic cancer. We need term limits. We need a time when we say enough's enough. I'm 60, I'm going to be 61 next month. So, being old changes the benchmark keeps changing for me a little bit. But to me, there should be, if you're in your 70s, dude, go spend your time in the sun, man. That's my goal. Go spend your time in the sun, enjoy yourself. 80 years old, still voting? Come on now. One more last story before we go. They're talking about doing away with everything that has racist connotations. So this past week,
talking about it, they're doing
this
it.
past, yeah, they're doing it. So this past week, Louis Gohmert, he's from Texas, he's from the great state of Texas. He said, if we're going to do away with statues and this and that, he said, we have to do away with the Democratic Party because there's nothing but racism associated with the Democratic Party. Nothing. And I think he's on to something because we want to change everything. But at the same time, the Democratic Party is not going to they're not going to get a pass. So the KKK was a branch of the Democratic Party. You remember the guy that was in Congress for 40 something years. He was a grand wizard of the KKK. We gave him a pass. You know why? He's a Democrat. If that would have happened with a Republican, he'd never got a pass. Who fought against slavery? The Democratic Party. So they have a racist past that maybe they should be examined. They should be examined, and maybe they should go away too.
Fought against ending
Thank you,
slavery.
Louis Gohmert.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Louis Gohmert, for posting that up on the floor of Congress. So next week, hopefully it's not hot. I got my cameras working, and this putting on this podcast was trying at best. On my end, I couldn't get my computer working. I had to use the wife's phone, and I had no printer to print my stuff out. So next Monday will be much better. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is very important that you subscribe to the YouTube channel because we need to grow this thing. We can do it on Facebook, but we really need to grow this thing and make you go to YouTube first to monetize it, so me and Will make money.
Well, we're looking at doing podcasts via the audio as well. So we're going to start that. We're going to have those up before long. So we're going to expand our platform. This is just getting started and expanding our technology and being able to do different things.
So it was nice to be in Houston, and I think I'm heading to I got a seafood platter waiting on me. After that, I think I'm going back to the Mexican, food truck and get me some of those tacos
More tacos.
and
Make sure you have
more
your cash.
tacos and cash. And that's pretty, they're making people wait in line to get in the stores here. If the capacity of the store is filled, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not sitting outside in the sun to get into a store. And I ain't wearing a mask either. But that's just me.
Have you been thrown
My
out
wife
anywhere yet?
stood in line. Not yet. Not yet. So, and by the way, somebody said I was hypocritical because I actually wore my mask to get into the doctor the other day. And look, after 7 months of waiting to see a doctor, they told me I had to put on a mask. I put on the mask. I took it off as soon as I got in. But to get entrance in, so you know what? I'll fight you at Walmart, but after waiting 7 months at the doctor's, I'm not going to fight you. I'm wore out on that whole thing. So call me a hypocrite, call me what you want, but that's just the facts. So, well, I'll see you back in about a week.
Yes, sir.
We're on,
So
we're
are
on
we
the
planning on
road
doing the
to,
show in the studio next week?
I'm going to try to be back.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be on the road, but I'm going to be a little better prepared.
All right.
That's for sure.
Either way, we'll figure it out.
God bless everybody. Don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can. If you have YouTube, if you don't have YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and like us. Where do we stand right now, Will? We're over 100, right?
We are over 100, yeah. So we're keep on going. But now we can have our URL. We have to wait for 30 days,
right?
And we'll get more and more. But
So,
just keep on subscribing if you can. If you haven't already, go there and like us, subscribe, and follow. Hit the little bell. That way you get notifications whenever we come on.
Two bald guys on the right. God bless you guys. Have a good night, and hopefully I'm back in the studio next week, the beginning part of next week. And I'm sweating like a banshee up in here. Woo! Did I tell you what? This humidity doesn't play. It just does not play. So you guys have a good one. We'll have a great night, and God bless everybody.
Absolutely. Take it easy, B. We'll talk to you guys again. Two bald guys on the right signing off. Have a good one.